Well, hello there, my brothers and sisters. It's Josh Packard. Welcome to another episode of The Golden Image of Churchianity is a Lie. Thank you for joining me today. I want to talk to you about your soul today. Why it's important. Well, first of all, that it exists, because most people don't even realize they have a soul because they've been darkened on purpose, by the way. But there's a big pandemic, a really big pandemic, way more deadly than COVID ever was. But there's a pandemic of all these empty souls everywhere. And the Bible calls them sinful souls. It's not meaning that you're evil. It's not meaning that you're a bad person. What sin means is just empty, missing, lost. It's nothing satisfies anymore. There's just a big crater where your heart used to be when you were a child. Remember, you had a heart at once, and all of a sudden it's gone. Well, your heart, what you call your heart, is actually your soul. It's the part of you that shows you your relation in versus rightness, being right or wrong, whether you're serving the Lord or whether you're serving the world, the spirit of peace and joy and hope, or the spirit of guilt and shame and self-hatred and trying to fix yourself and conforming to images and blah blah blah. There's so much evidence that shows you that your heart is filled with sin. I mean, it ranges from trying to be really religious and trying to appear very self-righteous and trying to prove that hole wrong, or there's those who, rather than try to fight that hole or to prove it wrong, they'll just anesthetize themselves, which is the easier route, which they'll fill it with alcohol or they'll fill it with drugs, but it never is enough. Sex, deviance, whatever it is that you're chasing that you think will give you some sort of fix for the minute. And that's what people are trying to do. They're trying to escape. Because I wasn't always of the Lord. My whole life was a train wreck. And I can tell you that the sensation I felt that I was trapped inside myself, that there was a maze in there that I could not get out of no matter what. My soul was completely destroyed and gone. And there was no way to restore it. I tried to be good on my own. I tried to do the right things. I tried to be a good person, thinking that might do something or appease my God or whatever, if there was a God at that point. But that's not what it's about. It has nothing to do with your good works. That's not how you can't restore your own soul. The very first, my soul has been restored, and it's the promise that Jesus made to me. It made to everyone, and I always take it personal because it's everything I read in the scriptures. I just take as it's written right for me. So my soul was restored. And it wasn't through me trying to be a Christian or trying to make a good change or trying to make a choice for Christ. I had no idea. I didn't become a Christian because someday I was like, I just want to be a Christian. I became a Christian because the Lord, after showing me He saw everything about me and everything I hated and everything I was ashamed of and everything I didn't want anyone in the world to know, He goes, I see it all, every little bit. And I was like, oh my God, I was expecting Him to hit me with a hammer or throw me into hell or to burn me with fire or to punish me. But what I heard from Him was this: I love you. And I was like, what? That is not what I was expecting. But that knowledge that He loved me, it was like God just pushed His hand right down and through that maze and put me right back out and put me right at the very beginning. Put me right over and restarted me. Put me right back on playing ground. I mean, in 1 second, that whole burden was gone. Everything, all that hole and that loss and that just self-destruction and self-hatred and anger. 1 second, poof. And I'm going to tell you right now, that wasn't me. I tried my whole life to get rid of that. I tried to fix it. I tried to anesthetize it. I tried to fix it. I tried to do everything I could. I went both ways. I fought and I gave up, and then I fought, and then I still lost. And I was just at a pure will living. I wanted to die every day. And the Lord just went poof. In 1 second, I was released. I was brought out of the maze. I was unshackled in 1 second. So that's when my soul was restored. I didn't know it then. I didn't even know I had a soul. I had no idea what that was. All I knew is I just felt full here. everything was full again. And I was like, whew. Now it's like overflowing, but then it was like full. I was like, oh my God, that hole's gone. And then right then and there, that made me his. I was his right then and there. He was my Lord forever from that very second. I was in tears and joy and peace. I was standing upright. My anger was gone. My whole body was relaxing. I was like, this is just weird. And that was like 16 years ago now or something, or 18 years. I mean, anyway, but it went by really quick. But the Lord he is so good. And he wants to fill that hole in you. Because this isn't about heaven or hell, you guys. This isn't about getting to heaven or whether you're going to go to hell for punishment. You've already been purchased. Christ has already taken care of that. Hell has been destroyed. Satan has been, not destroyed, but he's been bound. You are free. You just don't know it yet. Okay? So, what I want you guys to see is that now that you're Christians, no, and I hate to use the word Christian because I'm not a Christian. I don't believe anything that Christians believe, but they're not really Christians. The true ones are the ones that actually follow the Lord and listen to him. That go, I am saved not because of my will or strength or blood or power or anything of my choice or any of my belief or anything. I'm saved because Jesus rose from the dead. Done. That's where I put my hope. I don't put my hope in me at all. I can't. I've seen how many thousands of different ways I fail. I mean, if any of this was left to one little shred to be my responsibility, I would burn in hell for eternity. I suck. But the good thing is Jesus is freaking awesome. He has done everything for you. He's purchased you with his own blood. It's done. He loved you so much that he took your punishment on himself so that you could be free from the lies of religion and of Satan. Don't let these turds, these liars, misrepresent God to you anymore. Okay. Now, what the law was for, or the Ten Commandments, there's 613 Levitical laws extrapolating the Ten Commandments. I mean, I just want you to know that it's not just the Ten Commandments. They're just a kind of a framework, and then they're further explained throughout the Bible. But it's just to kind of give you a base framework. All right. The first 5, I know I talked about this last week, but the first 5 are all about your relationship with you and God. Okay? And these are by far the most important. The first 5. You know, it says, I am the Lord thy God, which have brought thee, and this is Exodus 20, if you want to read along 21 and 2. I am the Lord thy God, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. You shall not have any other gods before me. And that's not for his benefit. It's not for his ego. It's for your benefit. You were made to be in fellowship with God. You put him first, you will be brought back. Your soul will be in the right place. Because this is what you were made for, whether you like it or not. You're the clay, he's the potter. You don't have any right to ask him, why did you make me thus? He did. These are the metaphysical laws that God has put in place. This is his game. But he's done it for your benefit because he loves you, because he wants to share fellowship with you, because he wants to share blessing and hope and joy and show you his magnificence and his wisdom and his strength and his creation. He wants to show you everything. Okay? This is not for his ego. This is for your benefit. Get your pride out of the way. You shall not make unto you any graven image or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above or that is in the earth beneath or that is in the water under the earth. These images are not, these are not gods. These are the images of what you think you ought to be. You got to realize you are what you are. God has made you thus. You are what he has made you to be, and there's nothing else you need to be. There's nothing else. You don't need to change. You don't need to be anything like anyone else or anything else to be right before God. Okay? This is for your benefit, not for his. He's trying to set you free and bring you back and fill your soul and bring you joy and peace and hope, bring you back into what your original intention was made for, which was stolen from you by Satan and his agents, being the church today. It was stolen from you because they lied to you and you believed them because they look like messengers of light, but they're liars. You guys, God is nothing like what you've been told. Jesus is nothing like what you've been told. He is so far beyond that. Anyway, We can go on forever about this. But anyway, you shall not bow yourself down to those images, nor serve them, for I, the Lord thy God, am a jealous God, visiting iniquity of the fathers upon the children of the third and of the fourth generation of them that hate me. So what's going to happen is if you go about establishing your own righteousness and forming your images and trying to measure up to something else, what are you going to teach your children to do? They're going to do the same thing. You're teaching them to hate themselves by your hating yourself. And it's manifest and evident that you hate yourself and the fact that you're seeking to be something else. But it's like the whole grass is always greener thing. You got to get that out of the way. Okay. And he says, and he shows mercy unto the thousand that love me and keep my commandments. And again, this is for your benefit. There has to be a system of punishments and judgments in order to bring you and to train you into the right way. Because if you didn't know, if it didn't hurt when you went the wrong way, you wouldn't know to go the right way. You shall not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain, for the Lord will not hold him guiltless that takes his name in vain. And this is like, oh, God damn it. Oh, mother, it has nothing to do with what saying God damn it or God damn. It has nothing to do with that. To take the Lord's name in vain is say that you serve him and then do what the church does and use the word of God to kill them, to separate them from God, to twist and lie and change the gospel into a lie, to have them follow you and to join your cult of a church rather than to seek the Lord Jesus Christ. Okay? It's not about, this is all talking about religious people. Here are the first five. Those that claim to be righteous. Do not listen to the church at all. Not any pastor, not even one. Okay? You can they have some sort of like some topical teaching. They've got some pretty cool insights on some things. But as far as the truth of who Christ is and the authorship of his salvation and the finishing of his salvation, they are ignorant to the bone because they still have to be subjected to the principle that they had to believe to be saved. If they had to believe to be saved, the one they believed in is actually Satan. It is not Jesus. Because Jesus saved you that you would believe. You don't believe to be saved. That is a different God. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days you shall labor, and you shall do all thy work. But the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God. In it you shall not do any work, you, your son, your daughter, nor your manservant, nor your maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor the stranger that is within thy gates. Christ is the seventh day. In the seventh day you do not do any works. And this is simply from the part where you can't earn anything before God anymore. It doesn't mean to have, you can have a literal Sabbath day if you want, but this is a higher principle. This is saying that you have no need to earn before God. There's no more, you need to quit working and trying to earn. Because as you're doing that, you separate yourself from God and you fall from grace. Then you're going to bow down to images. Then you're going to have other gods before him. Everything has to be from the top down. You have to have God has to be the first place in your life. So, and then honor your mother and thy father. This is in the first five. Okay. There's 2 tables of stone, 5. This is the 5th one. So this is talking about your relationship with God as well as your relationship on earth. But this is mainly your relationship with God is to honor your mother and father. To keep them, so it's your practice to keep someone in honor, even though they don't deserve it. Hold them in respect, even if they don't deserve it. Even if it is contrary to what you think. Even if it is contrary to what you believe, you still hold your parents in honor. Okay? Even if they're wrong. You don't have to obey them and do everything they say, but you need to be polite and respectful to them, and you need to treat them with respect, always. Okay? This will keep your relationship with God healthy vertically, which is what everything else depends on after this now. So, now these are the ones that everyone's familiar with. You shall not kill. That is pretty much, you don't really need to explain much more than that, other than the fact that even if in your mind you hate another, or you call them a fool, or whatever you do in your own mind, you've killed that person, according to what Jesus said. It's not saying this to be holding you for the judgment of fire and brimstone. What he's saying is that in your conscience, this is something that will erode your conscience. This will take away your peace and rob you of your joy and your wholesomeness and your unity as a people or a family or anything. So, you know what I mean? Don't think about strangling your wife too much. You know what I mean? You can't be perfect in any of this stuff, but you're assenting to the idea that I want to hold others in love rather than hate, because as I love them, that returns to me. Okay? You shall not commit adultery. This is, and everyone thinks this is cheating, and it's not at all. This is about anything that is outside of God's ideas for sex and love and marriage. If you're going out and betting lots of people, if you're having sex outside of marriage, you're breaking this, and it's going to erode your soul, because it's outside of God's plan and will, because He made you so you to run optimally, you need to not do that. So this isn't talking about just cheating on a spouse. This is anything. This is homosexuality, men dressing like a woman, effeminate men. You keep going down the list. If you're a coward, if you're if you let women rule over you, there's 1,000 different things. Any of the LGBT stuff for sure. Any of that stuff. Each one of those things stacked upon another will deteriorate your soul. It's just the way it works. I don't see very many happy liberals, because they're doing it. They're hating. They're perverted sexually, and I'm not saying that as evil, but they're perverted. They're doing the things that are contrary to their soul. Even Buddhism teaches all this stuff. They've noticed this in karma. They know that this stuff is wrong. You shall not steal. And this isn't just stealing things. It's stealing people's hearts, love, stealing their labor from them, stealing anything. This is where you are taking advantage of any person in any way, whether it be financially, sexually, spiritually, emotionally. Any of this stuff. If you are doing this, it will come back upon you. Okay? So just to let you know, what you reap, you shall sow. So the scriptures say. Okay? You shall not bear false witness against your neighbor. You should not lie about another person. No matter what. If you do, bad karma going to come on you, just like the rest of these. So just think, each one of these things adding up, and then bearing upon your soul, and stealing your joy, and your peace, and your hope, and all these other things. And they'll keep on going. There's more. You shall not covet thy neighbor's house. You shall not covet your neighbor's wife, nor his manservant, nor his maidservant, nor his ox, nor his ass, nor anything that is thy neighbor's. And this is saying, the grass isn't greener. What they have is theirs. What you have is yours. Be satisfied with what you have. Because in wanting and desiring them, what they have, you will despise what you have. And you will not be satisfied in your life. Okay? This is a simple breakdown. There's much, much more, and you guys can find many more than I can find. But these are the things that they're not going to send you to hell necessarily in themselves. And I'm using the word hell as in because it's just common vernacular, because I believe that Christ has absolutely obliterated it. Because hell is just a place of the dead or death, and Christ has obliterated death. So anyway, we'll just talk about that another time. But your life will become a living hell, empty, separated from God. You'll be in outer darkness where there's weeping and gnashing of teeth, and that's how Scriptures put it. But that's the truth, and I had that experience my entire life. Up until I was 28, I was out of outer darkness, weeping and gnashing of teeth, and then the Lord showed up, bam, and all of a sudden I'm in the kingdom of God, and it was only by the words that I heard and believed. Because I had any doubt. He'd proven himself to me, and he showed me himself. But the reason I believed is because he saved me. Then I was able to believe. And I'm going to tell you right now, if anyone wants to argue with me, as soon as I saw the Lord, I was on my knees before him. I was just like, Paul, who are you, Lord? As soon as I saw him. If I could have chosen him a minute before, a day before, a year before, any time before, if I could have, I would have been on my knees immediately. As soon as I saw him and his love for me, I was on my knees immediately. If I could have done that at any time previous to that, I would have done it. Immediately. I've been bought. I'm literally his, he is my Lord. I'm his slave. I will never, ever, ever leave. He's the only one that has the words of life. He's the one that set me free. He's the one who loves me. I have nothing to fear from my God. This is what caused me to believe in him. This is what causes me to follow him. This is what brings light to my eyes and to my spirit and to my soul. This is what brings life to me, is the knowledge of his love and his mercy and his greatness. That everything that he is doing for me is for my benefit. Even the bad times of my life was to correct me and to bring me into this joy that I have now, to where I now have the capacity from being a total fucking piece of shit, loser, worthless, and untrustworthy, to now I have a family. I have a beautiful wife. I have 2 beautiful children, which I love more than anything in the world. I have a nice house. I have a good job. I lead men. I teach Bibles. I'm preaching all the time. I lead people to the Lord. I'm valiant in the Lord. You know what I mean? Because he made me so. And because he told me I was, as I became it. The Lord operates differently. He fills you up. And this is what's called wholesomeness. So you want to pursue wholesomeness and virtue with every ounce of your being, because it will provide dividends to you. You get out of life what you put into it. It sucks to have to work and push and have to fight and strive through this, but this is the way it is. If your life sucks, change it. But I'm here to tell you, you could never believe in the Lord yourself. You can never do anything yourself. It's the knowledge that he did it for you is what transforms you, which brings about belief in you, which causes you to believe. See, what's happening is everybody's trying to reason with their mind and trying to figure out where God is, but your intellect is worthless in this endeavor. Because your intellect, without bound and without like a compass, your intellect can roam in infinite directions. That's why that when the Lord appears to you and you see the light, you're able to go zip right to the light. You're able to use your intellect again. You're able to use it for what it's for. But until you have the direction, your intellect is useless to you. Just let you know. I'm not a smart man. But now in the Lord, I'm pretty smart. So, but the thing is because my mind is directed in the right direction. I am actually in the right angle to see, in the right paradigm, to see the truth, wisdom, sanctification, justification, grace, mercy. I'm in the direct line because I can see it from the right paradigm, because God has opened the light for me. And I go, oh, there it is. But then there's doctors out there and lawyers and liberals everywhere that think they're so damn smart, and they just can't figure anything out, because they don't realize that no matter how smart you are, there's an infinite amount of paradigms. Which one are you going to choose? Without God showing you the right direction, showing you the way, the truth, and the life, you'll never find it. But what reveals that light is the preaching of the good news, that you have been utterly saved, that your God loves you, that he came to set you free. He heard your cry, and he did come. He took your penalty upon himself on that cross, shed his blood for you, and made you right with him while you're an enemy to him. Not after you believed, not after you thought you did something good and righteous and you're a good person, but while you're an enemy to him. He did it apart from your will. He did it without your permission. It was always done. And you should have known about it. But the church is lying to you. The reason the whole world doesn't know God is because of the church. Just to let you know, it's not sinners. They're not the problem. It's those that pretend to be servants of God, who serve their own bellies and their own lusts, their own ideas, their own images, their own denominations, their own building, whatever, you go down the list. So, anyway, my brothers and sisters, Jesus is Lord. He's finished and he's purchased it all. Be filled. Take care of your soul, because then from that full soul, you become a blessing to everyone. Since you have no need to take, you can give, you can overflow. you can give to your wife and your children, to those around you. You can embolden the weak, and you can strengthen, embolden the cowardly and strengthen the weak. You can uplift the downtrodden. You can do this because you have no need for yourself anymore. All right, guys, take care of your souls. Don't become a liberal. Don't become these godless people. And I'm just using liberal as a broad stroke, but these godless people who allowed their soul to be destroyed and then are now being used as weapons by the very people that put that destruction in them. The ones that gave them porn, the ones that gave them all their LGBTQ stuff, the ones that encourage all this stuff, the ones that encourage all this godlessness and drug use and all this crap. These people sowed this destruction in you on purpose so that you would serve them. And then what they did is they blamed us for the oppression you feel inside yourself. And now you're against me. Where all along we've been trying to tell you the way to righteousness, the way to peace. But you won't hear because of the sin in you. It wants to be dominated. It wants to serve Satan. It wants to empower one person always. It always wants to put leaders and always wants to pass the buck. It always wants to have somebody else telling you what to do. Liberty can only be by someone. Liberty can only exist in a person, which is so. Liberty is a conscience that's clean. You guys, as a conscience that has no conscience of sin. It's a conscience that is light and full of joy, has no need for anybody's input or direction from any person. It's literally independent of itself because it doesn't need anything. Liberty is the most important thing there is. Freedom is second to liberty, you guys. All right. God bless you all and your families. Spread and tell everyone they've been saved. Let them know the good news, and then that will transform them and fill their souls so that we don't have these zombies everywhere anymore. All right. Love you all. Have a great day. Bye.